TNA have invaded NXT. Well, something like that, spoiler alert, does happen at the end of this version, an episode of NXT, the go-home show for No Mercy, which you would expect, generally, in wrestling promotions, to have quite a lot of bells and whistles, or final matches, or angles held up, so you'll go and see the PLE, But NXT don't seem to bother with that. They just do the same stuff, and then the PLEs are pretty good. But we've started here. Oh, let's just go back to the invasion angle. Well, we've had that before, haven't we? I mean, many times. We've had the Outsiders in WCW. That came from an angle with NJPW, didn't it? We've had ECW in WWF. We've had loads of stuff. Loads. You've got an Appalachian Mountain Wrestling at the moment, haven't you, with New South and APW? Yeah. Go and have a look at it. It's on YouTube. And it really ruins the match. It's the main event. Title versus title. You know that neither of them are going to win, not going into the PLE and going into a big pay-per-view for TNA as well. You knew that, didn't you? You didn't? Come on, how long have you been watching wrestling? Anyway, we start with Miles Bourne versus Lexis King. And it could have been a mess, this, because it's a weapons match and a seemingly no DQ match, and also a lights out match, the first one they've ever had in NXT. I'm not sure they'll be doing another, because you couldn't see sod all for some of the time. Now, Miles Bourne and Lexis King have a good match here. It is the best match of the episode, but when the top brass says, well, they've had that blindfold match, that was quite fun, let's give them a lights out match, and then we can keep adding stipulations for the nation and all of that kind of stuff. You can keep adding stips and that'll really work. You know, a graveyard match, I don't know, well, there's loads of them, aren't there? A barbed wire on a pole match, maybe winner gets a charisma, and Miles Bourne desperately needs that. Or maybe winner gets some direction in his career and Lexis can win that. Something like that. Anyway, this is quite a lot of fun. From the moment we get the Miles Bourne trash can shot, which comes before the bell, he gets a nice belly-to-belly suplex. Hidden blade, very nice from Lexis King. Suplexes him onto a chair. Then cinches in a straitjacket for ages. Several trash can shots. I thought, come on, mate. You can stop now. And then a power slam from Miles Bourne, the back suplex onto the apron. The hardest part of the ring. And then, it's a big moment. It's a coronation from Lexis King. On the announce table, announce table doesn't break. And that must have been extremely painful. But back in the ring, King whips him with his belt, flips him into the steps, but he's then reversed into them himself. There's a chant, and this is awesome chant, and it pretty much is. King then must stomp into the steps, and he's reversed, and he's hit with a spear through the barricade from Miles Bourne. Then he whips him with his belt, with the belt. It's a white leather belt, very 80s, and a sort of short super kick. Didn't get the space to do it from Lexus. Bourne's back with a DDT onto the steel steps in the ring, and then a sort of that high sling blade thing he does through a table with Lexis King for the pin. It was rather good, certainly better than Jordynne Grace versus Ariana Grace. No reason for this, really. I mean, they had a bit of a to do in the, and it's quite funny actually in the back, and then you've got Jordan smacking him into the corner with a clothesline, hitting a spine buster, getting the direct effect. Grace got some stuff in, but not really enough, and she was only there to get beaten so Blake Monroe could come in with a pink kendo stick, take a chair to the back, deal out some kendo stick shots, and Ava, who is not there tonight, folks, I don't know where she is, but we didn't really notice because Stevie and Mr. Stone who are still employed by NXT. I'll tell you that. Is Stevie Australian? Because she sounds Cockney this week. I don't quite know. I could look it up, but I can't be bothered. And they're in charge, and at No Mercy they will fight in a weapons match, and actually also in a cage. You've got Stevie saying weapons match, and Mr. Stone tried to trump it by saying, and in a cage. It will be quite good because they have given this a bit of time. It broke up quickly, but they've been trying to fight each other for ages. It will be all right. I feel sure of that. Anyway, Tavion Heights doesn't really... I mean, he fights Ethan Page. But Ethan's in there talking about the success that he had at Homecoming against Tyler Breeze, who's one and done now, I presume. Introduces Mr. Wagner, who he fought at Worlds Collide. He's a AAA champion. And says he would have got the win if it wasn't for Mr. Wagner. So he's invited to watch him at No Mercy. In fact, he brings him in and says, let's have a match. Suddenly there's a referee in there, almost as if they knew there was going to be this. And there's an ankle lock. Page taps, and Mr. Wagner, Dr. Wagner Jr., reveals himself as being Tavion Heights. Did anybody ask Wagner Jr.? It was all right. Did they ask him? It was okay. And Page's angry face is very funny. Ooh, why I honor? But apart from that, not great. And Candice LeRae is facing Lady Reed for the Speed title. Now, we've got the champion, Sol Ruka, with her mate, Zarya, in the crow's nest, overlooking, and they've got sort of boards to write on, to write pithy things like, I don't like either of them. They're just not witty enough for this. And in the end, and spoiler alert, it's a bit of a surprise. You get Laney wins, I guess. It's not funny. Just not funny. Do not give them that. At least scope it out and say, got any witty lines? Would you like some? Or maybe they're the witty lines they were given and they're just shite. Anyway, this match was all right. It's 3 minutes, as you know. We get a nice neck breaker from Laney, a kick on the apron, and she holds on to prevent the suplex to the floor, which would have been quite messy. Candice LeRae came out of the crossbody off the apron and a tilt-a-whirl bulldog into a crossface, which is lovely. Laney Reed then reaches for the ropes and rolls her up, and they trade covers until Laney Reed thinks, got to get some separation, hits her with a big knee, gets the pin. She is now the surprise #1 contender to Sol Ruka's championship. This Speed thing has gone by quickly, funnily enough, and it's not touched the sides, and I don't really care. Now, Lola Vice is back on top. So, it was Jada Parker for a while after Lola Vice. Remember? Lola Vice, then Jada Parker. Last Legend was in there somewhere. They've all been forgotten. Now it's Lola Vice again. She'll be facing Jacy Jayne at No Mercy. No Mercy! And Jacy Jayne's got an interesting way, sip of my coffee, of doing these bits, because she doesn't say, you won't touch me, etc. and all that. After Lola Vice says, I'm a different person now, couldn't have coped with this a few months ago, now I'm more than a fighter, I'm a pro wrestler, and she's for the people, yeah. Jada Parker, she's not there, nowhere to be seen now, not in the picture. Jacy Jayne says that at the PLE, she believes she will be beat up. She believes that Lola Vice will beat her up. She's basically saying, you'll get the better of me, but she'll find some way to keep the title. Fake lymph nodes aren't there. She then says that Lola Vice will be a disappointment to her family. Lola can't take that, hits her back fist, sparks her straight out. That is good work for the cowardly heel. And we're moving on as one of the highlights. This wasn't, it was a mess. It's Dark State versus Joe Hendry, who earlier on was in some motorcycle leathers. I believe in Joe Hendry. I don't. I'm afraid I don't. And Chase U. Not with Andre Chase. It's just the other two. Kale and Uriah, are they called? I could go and check that, but I can't be bothered. You've got Lennox with a slam that he wants a pin from. Hendry does some grandstanding. Chase and Chase U and Henry stand tall in the ring. They dispatch them all. Kale gets a nice Fosbury flop type and a shotgun drop kick, and then they beat him up on the outside, 3 of them from Dark State. Sugars gets a nice headlock, which has worked for ages. It's lovely. Osiris's big power slam looked very good. Henry gets the hot tag, of course, takes them all on, fall away slam, suplex, and as Andre Chase rallies Kale to get up from behind the barricade and get back in, from behind the barricade, I went to a Spandau Ballet then. He comes in and takes them all on, hits a tornado DDT, gets a stunner, but there's a distraction, the ref is distracted, and he's thrown into the powerbomb for the Dark State pin. I like that finish. Dark State looked a bit better. Am I going to like them anytime soon? No. Okay, here's this messy main event. There were shots thrown, they blocked shots, there's quite a lot of I'm as good as you and I'm as good as you. Oberfame puts him down. Oh, you're not very good, your character's crap, isn't it? And that heel turn's not been very good for you, has it? Not that kind of putting down, although there's lots of material, isn't there? Punches him down to the apron. Trick bails, kicked off the apron when he kind of waits around on the apron. Why are you doing that, mate? The back suplex from Trick onto the apron. Mike Santana, we've been seeing people from TNA walking around in the building all the way through. He comes down, hops the rail, gets it on commentary. Matt Cardona is there, back in the ring. This is taking away from these 2 champions, you see. And it is almost as if, well, we need all these TNA people to come in because you 2 can't really hold our attention. They get some uppercuts from Femi, a drop kick, a C4, there's a kick out, and then the trick shot from Trick, of course, the long 2 count. There's a big fall from Grace, that pop-up powerbomb that Femi does for 2.999 recurring. There's Mance Warner. Stop showing us. There are competing TNA and NXT chants, which is good, actually. Shows it's working in some way, just not with me. Clothesline from Femi over the top. He's thrown into the steps. And then Trick suckers Santana into slapping him and chasing him into the ring. There's an instant ding, ding, ding. They've got the DQ, and TNA and NXT are in the ring. But this is better. This is a good ending. They're all, the melee is taking place in the ring. Ricky Saints walks to the podium where the belt is, unseen by everybody it seems, picks it up and is admiring it, when a hand comes from the floor and it's Oberfemi, who pulls himself up onto the lectern, grabs the title himself, and shows it to Saints. That is a great way to end. And they can do it sometimes. It's just that this is a long programme to be so crap. Again, we had a really good match to start with. That last match was a mess, but it was well wrangled in some ways. In the middle, what was there? Lola Vice sparking Jason Jane out? Yeah, not bad. Dark State looking adequate? Okay. Is that it? More or less. Yeah. Ta-ta.